Digital Content Creators presents the Networking Roundtable discussion.
So, thank you everyone for being on time. Yeah, seeing a lot of familiar faces here. Let's get the show underway. 1 second, let me pull up the interactive presentation. For those of you who have never come to one of our roundtables before, we like to do a little bit of an interactive presentation to make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more fun. Can everyone see my screen? Menti.com, thumbs up. Yep, okay. So first off, take out your phone or your tablet or your mobile device and just scan here the QR code. Okay, and then once you're in, if you can do me a favor and just give me a little thumbs up here on the bottom right, that tells me that you're in. So we've got 3 people in already. If you don't have your phone near you, no worries. You can just open up a new tab or a new window on your browser and go to www.menti.com and put in the code 83992460 and you'll be able to participate. Okay, just give everyone a little bit of time to get in there. So we've got 5 of you. How many people do we have total?
33.
6. Should have more of you coming in. Come on, guys, let's get that up to 9 people in the Mentimeter. Right, looks like we're having difficulties. I'm going to move on. If at any point you need to get back in, you just use the QR code here, and you can see at the top of the screen, it might be blocked by your Zoom, but at the top of the screen, there's the Menti code as well. Okay, so today's topic is publishing without AI. Is it possible, desirable, or even necessary? Where are you joining from? Guys, tell us where you're coming from. So which part of the world? And you can always participate in the Zoom chat if you are not able to get into the Mentimeter. Okay. South Africa. Wow, nice. New Jersey. ENW. Okay. Ecuador. California. Oxford. I'm from Oxford. Wow. Okay. I'm curious as to who that is.
Hey, neighbor.
Okay. Hey.
Philippines.
That Russ. Is that you, Russ?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I grew up in Cowley.
Oh, right. Nice. Yeah. And you drive a Mini.
No, not quite. But I'm currently in Paraguay, so I'm a long way away. All right. Now we've got Ecuador, Wilkes-Barre. Okay, wow, very global. We've become much more global, Jan, since we first started this.
Great, that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it used to be very US focused, and now we're completely global. This is amazing. Okay, awesome. So thanks for that, guys. We're move on to the next one. Let's get a read of the room for this particular topic. Do you use AI in your publishing process? No? Yes, significantly, or yes, but only a little. This can be also, guys, this cannot be necessarily for just books, but just for your content in general. Let's just keep it a little bit more general to see how much you guys are using it. Okay, so we have 2, 2, and 5. Okay, so we've got a mixed room. However, a lot of you are already using AI significantly in your content and your production process. All right, so it's time to meet our hosts. Jan, introduce yourself.
I am Jan. A lot of you know me, some of you don't. I'm the founder and the CEO of Digital Content Creators, and we're here to help publishers, coaches, authors, anybody who creates content to get it out and delivered to as many people as possible. We all need to help. The world is changing quickly. and we need to support each other while this change is going on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jan. And Christine, are you able to jump on the mic and tell us who you are? So Christine was having some mic problems, so I'm just going to introduce her. I'm going to introduce her. She is all the back end, the operations. She absolutely is the reason why these roundtables take place. Okay, so we just want to thank Christine. Okay, I'm Evan. I do roundtables. I help Jan with operations, and I'm hosting the event. So most importantly is our guest speaker, Beth. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Werner. My company is called Author Connections. I'm primarily a book editor and a marketing advisor. So I've been around doing this for more than 15 years. My background was in traditional, and now I work with both traditional and indie authors on marketing campaigns and marketing advice, and really just the process of taking a manuscript and bringing it to fruition until it's a commercially viable book available for sale, and any of the nuts and bolts that go along that process.
Thank you, Beth. So explain to us, Beth, progress versus preservation. Can you explain this debate and the way you look at it?
That phrase came to me in thinking about this because for some reason I always remember the example, and I have to be mindful that this is an international audience, but in the United States we have something called Easy Pass. It's for tolls on the road, where for many, many years, wherever you were driving on most of the major highways in the States, you would go through a certain toll booth, they were called, and you would have this small 15-second interaction with a human who stood in the booth and took your money, and then you went on about your way. And over time, technology advanced and Easy Pass became available, and now it's a big scanner overhead that has a tag on your car. None of those people work in those booths anymore. There are no longer those 15-second interactions, have a nice day, whatever. It's progress versus preservation. So the old-fashioned way, I'm a New Yorker, so a New York minute sort of has meaning for me, where you have encounters with people, you cross paths with people for one reason or another, and sometimes it's nothing at all, you wouldn't even remember, but other times it's one of those little connections with humanity that stays with you, that changes your energy for the day ahead. And when I think of progress versus preservation, I think of that example, how it made things so much more efficient. The technology changed. You didn't have lines backed up on the highways anymore. Everyone embraced it. It's fabulous to just go on about your way and have the thing scanned. But there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people out of jobs, and all of those little New York minute interactions went away. So I think of that as a parallel for what we're talking about today, AI in books, sort of the balancing the humanity side with the efficiency side.
Perfect. Jan, do you have any comments on that?
I do. So people probably know that I'm more of a proponent of AI than Beth is, although over the course of over years, Beth and I have been talking about it, and she's moving towards the center. I believe there is a Goldilocks zone where you can combine AI and creativity of a human and come out with a perfect book that can be educational, can be entertaining, and can be informative. That's my take on it. I don't believe every book should be written by AI. I believe authors who have a burning need to get their story out should write their own book. I'm writing a memoir, but I also used AI to write a book about my journey through content. So it's both. It depends on the person, depends on the subject, and it depends on how you view the world.
Thanks.
I agree with that.
And, that's great. And so, Beth, what about artificial intelligence versus emotional intelligence?
So I think this is probably one of the disconnects that makes using AI a challenge for the whole picture. I don't really have any dispute with what Jan was just saying. And I do think it's important to note that even though on some fronts I am a dissenting opinion, because I'm a book editor, I work with writers. So Partly, I just enjoy that work because it means something to me. I think it's part of our legacy. It's part of recording this era in history. What were people thinking? How were they responding to the world around us? But at the same time, if you want to employ these tools, because the technology does offer advantages and benefits that are undeniable to a certain extent, then, like Jan said, it's a balance. If you're going to use both, how do you make sure that you're using it correctly without removing that EI portion, the emotional intelligence side of it? And I think the only answer there is that you incorporate the technology, but you don't let the technology replace the human role or the human side. Even if you're using AI for editing, I would never eliminate the role of a human editor. Maybe it saves you time, maybe it saves you money, maybe it means you turn a better, a manuscript in better condition before it goes to that editor, so there's less work for them to do. I am not completely against embracing technology. I'm also old enough and a small business owner long enough to know that if you don't have an open mind, you get left behind. So it's, for me anyway, it's about learning what are the limits, what are the restrictions, how can we use this to advantage without compromising the reason we do this in the first place. That's sort of where I'm coming from.
So let me give you an example of a human to AI interaction. So you can write a book, and this again is a book for an asset. It's not necessarily a book that's burning inside of you, but if you need to increase your influence or your authority, you can write a book with AI, with our human to AI system, where it will come up with a formula. Let's say it's 5-3-1, 5 chapters, 3 important points in each chapter. And for each of those 3 important points, you would add your interaction of how that point affected you or how you saw that point in real time. So that becomes your story and the history of what you're talking about combined into a book that's basically your story. Because, for instance, if I look at my book, The Content Revolution, I went from looking at telegrams to AI. That's all documented in history. But what's not documented is how I reacted to each evolution of content. That's where the human element comes in. That's where the emotional intelligence element comes in. When you take it and make it your own, that's when a book becomes real.
I'm
Fantastic. That's very
probably
thoughtful,
not
Jane.
halfway there. I'm just a portion of the way there. Here's the thing, if it's data that you're citing, if it's using the AI as another medium for an encyclopedia.
Research. Right, for research.
Exactly. So, I mean, people are going to hear the word encyclopedia. They won't even know what that is. But if it's going to be your Google, right? If you're going to call up the data, the information that's going to support whatever argument you're making or whatever case you're making, I don't have a problem with using it as a tool, like I said. But for me, in my impression, I believe there's a very fine line between setting up a template when you call it a formula to write the book. I want that to come from the author. I want the author to decide how it's presented, what the sequence is, what makes the point that they're trying to make, and then pull in those pieces of information. Obviously, I don't control any of this and I don't dictate it, but for me, someone said something that's much smarter than I can say this. And unfortunately, I don't have their name because it was in a group with a bunch of people. But I remember the quote because it stayed with me. And what this gentleman said was, why would anyone bother to read a book that no one bothered to write? It's so simple. So if you're pulling, like I said, if you're doing it as a research tool, if you're pulling in data or information that you want to cite, that's fine. But the other side of it is, and this is going to sound harsh or rude or whatever to people who don't want to hear it. If you want to call yourself an author, write a book. It's that simple. If you want to do a report, if you want to write an article, if you want to do a blog post and pull in different pieces, fine. I am a book editor. So, of course, there's a difference between content and books. But books are special. It's not a small thing. It's not an article. It's not a few pages. It's not something that takes a few hours. It takes some people years. People get degrees in writing. So it rubs the wrong way when you have people who are getting, BFAs and MFAs and in writer workshops and really trying to hone their craft and focused on the skill and the talent and trying to make it all meet and the stars align. Anyway, I shouldn't be going on. We agreed we wouldn't do. Let's get to the breakout sessions.
Nobody will disagree with that, except times are changing.
Yes,
So-
understood. I'm curious to see how the discussions in the breakouts go, to see how everyone else contributes to the conversation.
Absolutely. So, but you kind of touched on this, but it's kind of the question is, do you consider yourself an author, or are you just trying to maximize your content, your reach? Is this next question, is that kind of what you were alluding to just now?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the point, guys, is like, where do you see yourself? I suppose, Beth, your problem is you don't like people calling themselves authors that aren't authors, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me make a point. So just because a story was written by AI doesn't mean it's not useful or not important.
Understood.
Some people who don't have the money for a ghostwriter and don't have the time to sit down and write a book, but have important information for people to help people, they deserve to have that message out also. And if AI is the only way they can do it to help other people, then they should do that as well. And I'm all for that. I'm for both ways. If you
Well,
want
hold on. When you say they don't have the time to write a book, lots of people, no one has the time to write a book. The people who write books have devoted that time. They've made that commitment. They write after their kids are in bed at night. They write after work. Many people, their writing is not part of their work or their day job. They're writers. It's a passion, and that comes forward. Now, of course, if we, talk about fiction versus nonfiction, there are definitely many factors that are considerations here that we don't have the time. It's not appropriate in this format for today. But if you are a writer, now, let's say another example to support your end of it. Let's say someone is a celebrity, or, someone who has a really quite an incredible life story. Extraordinary that, like you said, it's something that's a story that needs to be told, or they're teaching something or paying something forward. But they recognize they're not a writer. They don't have that particular skill. So they would hire a ghostwriter. I have news for you. Even with that, I have issues. I have issues with ghostwriters. Now,
And
I
how much is a
understand
ghostwriter? So, by the way, how much is a ghostwriter?
a lot of money, and I get the point that you're making. I completely understand. And so for people who would not even have that opportunity or wouldn't have an option or a gateway, of course, this technology can be a tremendous solution. But I would still have an issue with them going to cocktail parties and saying, yeah, I wrote my book. It took me 4 days. Put it this way, all the power to you. And if in your marketplace you are an influencer because you turned out this content and it made you look like whatever, congratulations. I move in literary circles. In literary circles, we deal with writers. So
Right.
it's a different consideration. It's a different consideration.
So let's see what the breakout room has to say about this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, first breakout, guys, looking forward to it. What makes a book feel real and meaningful to you? So this is kind of, we've already been going back and forth on this. Do you think AI can or will help or hurt that? So the structure of the breakouts, for those of you who are not familiar, we're going to put you into groups of 4 people on average, and we're going to speak for allow everyone to speak for around 2 minutes each. Of course, we want the conversation to flow, but allow everyone to participate and get their word in.
Evan, do you mean your book or someone else's book?
That's a good question. What makes a book feel really meaningful to you? I think the question is directed at books in general, other people's
Yeah,
books.
I agree with that. Books in general.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good distinction, Scott. Thank you. So guys, let's get into breakout rooms. I'm going to set it at 9 minutes, and then you'll have 1 minute to wrap up. So you'll have a 60-second countdown timer. Okay, guys. So you don't have to, once the breakout room is ended, you don't have to immediately come back in the main room. You'll have 60 seconds to be able to finish your point. Okay, but just look at the top. Right at the top of Zoom, there'll be a little countdown timer. Sometimes it's difficult to see, but it's there, I promise. That tells you how long you have. Okay. Have fun. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, welcome back. Where's Jan? Can't see him.
Good discussions. Good
There he
discussion.
is. There he is. Hey, Jan. How was it, Jan? Get on the mic and tell us how the breakout session, what the conversation was like.
It was good. The people, so you know, where was she? Oh, so Diane is an editor also, and she agrees with Beth that she'll use it for research. Whitney gave it her horoscope, her sign, everything, and she said she's had amazing transformations using AI. It's been life-changing for her. So
Fantastic.
I guess everyone uses it in their own way.
Absolutely. Beth, how was it in your room? You're on mute, Beth.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Similar, 4 of us, but each use it differently. So one gentleman has written a few books in a few days, but for his business. I think one of the distinctions I'm finding that's a pattern is business related versus creative writing.
Yes.
I think that's definitely a line that needs to be drawn. That creative writing is more of, passion and soul and talent versus the efficiency of producing something for a work, purpose. But definitely interesting of how each one incorporates and, how everybody's trying to use it to advantage.
So that's what I was saying before, an asset as opposed to a burning desire to write a book. Those are basically, and I guess there's all kinds of in between as well.
Yes, I was about to say, I think it can be an asset even to the people who have a burning desire to write a book. So, for me, I'm not looking to rule anything out. I just feel very cautious and protective of letting something take over. And that's why that debate of the preservation versus progress came to me, because I think with any technology, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at what are the benefits and the advantages of making things more efficient, more cost effective, saving time, maybe saving stress that, you're not starting with a blank page that you have to come up with something. It can give you prompts, it can get you going, but there's also quite a line of caution where if you care to be called a writer, if you care about the integrity of being an author, if it's not just about I need to get this done and get it done now because I want to focus on other things, but it's more of I've wanted to share this for years and I just want to make sure I do it correctly, then I think AI can absolutely add a layer that is a helpful layer, a useful layer, a productive layer, but it's a layer. It's not a replacement. That's the distinction that I think makes a difference for me.
Fantastic. This is good. So I think we got clarity just from that first breakout.
Mhm.
Really good. So, Jan, tell us about the AI Content Collective.
So we're having problems here. The WhatsApp group is being hacked. And I can't find a platform that seems to work. So I would like to ask for recommendations. We were thinking of Tanka, but they're changing their policy. So I'm waiting to see what they are. In May, they're starting to charge people, and it's a lot of money. It's $300 a month. So I'm looking for suggestions, and I'm going to be sending out a questionnaire to everybody who's attended these roundtables to find out what their interest is and where they would like to have this group, and whether or not it's worthwhile having it all. Because if nobody no one engages, why waste our time? So it's important that we understand what the purpose of the group is, who's going to join, and who's going to engage. Or if you're not, then we'll forget about it. But one way or another, I want to try as hard as I can to make this group work.
I think it's worthwhile just for ongoing discussion.
I do also.
There's no question it's controversial and people are coming from different perspectives, and that just lends itself to a group. It lends itself to the dialogue ongoing, whether people have questions about which providers are legitimate or which, the best ways to use technology, and even segmenting what we're talking about today, the difference between for adult versus children's books or fiction versus nonfiction. There are so many tangents that you can cover, from the main topic. So I would think it
There
would
is so much that needs to be sorted out, and as things change, and they're changing daily, we need to keep moving. So that's why I want to create this group, and I'm going to keep doing it until somebody tells me to stop.
Absolutely. So guys, yeah, let us know if there are any platforms that you guys recommend. Please get in touch and we'll evaluate them.
Cool.
On to the next breakout. Is there a role for AI in writing a book? I suppose maybe we've already talked about there being a role. Maybe I would like to just add on. What is the role? What do you guys see as the role? What is the role? How much? In what? Do you agree with Beth that it's mainly research? Do you think it can do the heavy lifting of the actual writing? Let's have that discussion in breakouts. 9 minutes again, same format. I've just mixed up the rooms, so you should be talking to at least a few different people. If you're talking to the same person, great. Just talk to them a little bit more. Okay. Take care, guys. Enjoy yourself.
Whee!
Oh, welcome back.
I made the analogy of AI as a drunk college professor.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
I'm going to be stealing that.
I wrote a whole blog about it. I'll put the blog in the chat because
Please do.
I make other analogies that AI also gave me about my drunken college professor analogy.
There's something interesting that I'll just share quickly. People were wondering and complaining and just pondering the fact that it's stealing everybody's information and it's taking it. But when I looked this morning at one of the things, I came up with, because it did all of that, it found a new way of treating Alzheimer's disease that could lead to curing it, AI. From the University of California in San Diego, they came up with a new chemical and a new compound that may be able to cure and stop Alzheimer's from happening. So is it worth it for it to steal everyone's information if it can cure all of this stuff? If it can cure cancer at some point, if it can cure Alzheimer's or stop it from happening, is it worth it? That's a good question. That should have been the question we asked in the chat room.
Well, the question is, as far as I can see it, is that science is a specific purpose, and that's fine. There is no reason why there still can't be boundaries. All civilization has to have boundaries.
No civilizations had boundaries. People have done what they wanted all throughout history. There's never been
Right, and there's also been societal boundaries happening simultaneously. So I'm just saying that's how
and
civilizations progress.
consequences for the choices made.
Right.
Of course,
Even with the best
civilization has to
intentions.
progress.
All right, we
I
got
deal with
some time.
organization.
Let's,
Innovation comes from the edges. Innovation is never from the middle. It's always from the outside.
Absolutely. All right, guys, but I like this disagreement. This is what we want. Okay. This is what makes it exciting, the roundtables. All right, so
This is an exciting. This is
Okay. It's like Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We want content.
sorta.
Okay, so exclusive 101. Beth, tell us how people can speak to you.
So I find these things very useful to me. My company is a small boutique shop. I don't work with tons of authors. I'm not automated. There are no shopping carts on my website. I like to talk to people. I like to talk about books and writing and what an author's goals are. So I will do my best to be an advocate. I don't have any requirements or obligation, but when someone comes to me through a program like this where we've sort of crossed paths in professional circles, if anyone chooses to reach me, I usually give up to 30 minutes with no obligation, free. just to answer any questions that you might have. If you have questions about editing a book, if you have questions about publishing a book, if you have questions about marketing, I'm a mentor. I teach for the Author Learning Center, and I really don't ever mind. Sometimes it's helpful for me. It's like research for me to know what your writers are thinking and what you're leaning toward. So whether it's about AI or anything else to do with books, just mention DCC and you're welcome to complete the survey. The link is on the screen. That sort of gives me a prompt, and I do answer every one of those surveys that comes to me.
Fantastic. So guys, also Christina's put the link in the Zoom chat as well, and it's clickable within the Mentimeter. So if you're interested, please do book a call with Beth.
Thank you.
Okay. Open networking, guys. So we have, how much time do we have?
Yeah,
Yes, we're gonna do a 5-minute, a really quick 5-minute open networking, just so we can just talk to each other. That's what we want to do. We all want to exchange conversations, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, let me just create the breakouts for this purpose. 5 minutes. No, I'll make it 4 minutes, guys, and then with the 60-second wrap up. Okay, enjoy. For Beth, I'm gonna put you into room 3.
Okay.
I didn't see anything happen yet.
Oh, sorry, guys. Hasn't happened.
Here we
There,
go.
you're all gonna know. Beth, I'm gonna put you into room 3. Jan, I want you to go. You just choose whichever one you want. Hello, welcome back, everyone.
Oh,
I know that was
what
quick.
it wound up being was a discussion on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I
No,
think
this was interesting. It's fun. We didn't get to hear from Miss Wendy. I feel bad we ran out of time, but it was an interesting conversation. Everyone's sort of trying to consider the best ways to use it without crossing ethical lines or integrity lines. Good conversation.
Absolutely. So, guys, we've got 2 minutes, and feel free to post your LinkedIn in the chat for future connection with other people, other members that you might have spoken to in the breakouts. Let's just open up. I think we have time for one question, like one Q&A. Does anyone have a question that they want to direct to either Jan or Beth? If so, just put your hand up and get on the mic. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, just finding a platform for us to network would be really good, Jan. It's just,
any
yeah.
suggestions?
I'm on this one for the AI Tinkerers group. I'm not sure. The platform is pretty much wide open. It allows a lot of flexibility. I have no idea whether there's any cost. So let me ask Alex, who runs it, just for more details. I'm not even sure what the platform is.
Platform.
I don't know. I don't know what he's using. I don't know. I've never looked at it.
So we're looking at Circle and School, but they both have a cost. And I don't mind the cost if we get engagement.
Yeah.
Spending the money if we can help each other. But if
Well,
we're not,
Slack, Twist, there's a bunch of things out there, but they're all for profit. That's the, maybe something within the school systems. There's some free school applications. I don't know.
Well, I can't share specifics because it's still premature, but there is something that's in use right now worldwide by many traditional publishers that is in the works for independent publishers and authors. And there will be a fee. It will be a reasonable fee. And I can't say much more than that right now. But it's going to be something that makes use of AI without compromising the author's voice or the originality of a creator. It's something that's specifically a tool that you can use to help with editing or help with marketing, not to take the place of the human role. And I'm directly involved with this because of how much I care, because I don't want any technology to overstep the human element. But at the same time, I recognize the tech is here and it's staying. So I would rather be a part of that and make it available and make it where it's something that people say, oh, wow, I can be me and feed all of these things in my head. And this will give me something that I can use as a frame of reference, but it's not doing it for me. And it's not publishing anything in my name. It's up to me to do that, but I can have this tool that helps me do it more efficiently. So stay tuned. I will be sharing with Jan, and hopefully we'll do another discussion when the time comes. But like I said, it's already being used by the traditional marketplace. And when I saw it and I saw a demo just about a week ago, I said, we need to make this available for authors. So that is in the works, and I will be reaching out when I have more information.
All right, well, it's time,
Thanks,
Evan.
Beth.
We're a minute over time.
Yeah, so we're a
Sorry.
minute over. No, thanks, Beth. Thanks, Beth, for telling us about that new tech that's coming out. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I want to respect everyone's time. See you on the next roundtable. Bye-bye, everyone.
If everybody wants questions, I'll stay around and ask and answer. So
Thank you for having me. This
you're
was
very
fun.
welcome. Thank you for
Thanks,
being.
Beth.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. That was great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bud.
Yeah, and I'll dig into what Alex is using that platform, and I'll do that today.
We'll be sending out an email, and we'll be getting some questionnaires, and we'll keep plowing away at this on because I believe that it's important to support each other.
Yeah, the networking, the support system is really useful.
Yeah,
And I think we're all coming at this from very different perspectives, very different desired outcomes. But I think that there's enough common interest to make something like this really valuable. And it's worth some money, you know, I mean, most of us, I think,
I
will
have no
pay
problem as long as people
value.
engage.
Yeah,
And I will ask people who will engage, and then we will decide on a platform. Because you know, if anybody has input, please get in touch with me. I really want to get this done. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's important.
and most of the platforms are user-based fees. So
John,
it's not like we have huge overhead costs. If people are contributing to the platform and there's a mild fee with that, hey, cool, you know.
I'm not even worried about the mile. I'll pick up the fee until we get going on this.
Yeah,
I mean, I just want to get it going. That's all.
yeah. And I warned you about WhatsApp.
All right, guys. Thank you, Beth. It was.
Thanks. We'll see y'all.
It was fun.
Jan,
Have a
Jan,
good day, everyone. Thanks, Evan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice